This first one coming from Glenn. Question for Tell. What do you think of the most recent Professor Stick video about YouTube?
I actually saw that. Professor Stick is disillusioned, basically, with maybe that's not the right word for it. Anyway, he's really unhappy with YouTube right now, understandably so. I am too, honestly. He's right. The reason that I watch my language on my YouTube channel has very little to do with monetization. I could take the occasional demonetized video. That would be okay with me. I understand the need for certain videos to be demonetized, to make sure advertisers stick around. I get that. I have a really, really big problem with the fact that they're slowly and quietly making channels disappear. They just stop recommending it. They just stop recommending your channel or your videos to anybody. And I've even tested that. I have tested it extensively. I've had it proven to myself beyond a shadow of a doubt. And obviously Professor Stick has too. They're trying to make channels disappear that they don't like. And it's not necessarily a targeted thing. It's not like, oh, YouTube hates me, or oh, YouTube hates Professor Stick and they want to see us go. It's not like that. It's like if we talk about a subject that YouTube doesn't want talked about, for example, Flat Earth, YouTube will just not show that video to anybody. And if you have enough videos about a subject that YouTube doesn't want spread around, they will give your channel an M rating. Like, just the whole channel will get an M rating, which is basically like an R in movie terms. That's what I've been dealing with. My channel has an M rating, I suspect. This is not public, though. They don't tell you what your channel is, what your rating is, or what your individual videos are. Professor Stick almost certainly has an M rating. It's hard to tell, but at any rate, it's really sucky. Like, people have quit their careers for this. I quit my career for this. And YouTube is just making my presence disappear. I wish I had more mainstream reach than I do, like outside of YouTube, but mainstream reach is actually really difficult to get. It's not easy. Anyway, what can you do? Just gonna keep on keeping on. Just keep doing what I do. Professor Stick said he's gonna keep on doing what he does, and honestly, we're not the only two that have been dealing with it. YouTube has been doing something lately that's really fucked a lot of people over. And there's gonna come a time when they're losing lots of really, really good, solid creators. There will come a time when there are just not any more good, solid creators, or not very many good creators left from before. Everybody who's been here for 5 years is getting sick of what YouTube's doing, and they're moving on to different things. And we as creators have sufficiently convinced people to not get on YouTube and try to start it up. Like, anytime somebody comes up to me and says, hey, been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, should I do it? What do you think I'm going to tell them? What do you think all these other creators that are fucking sick of YouTube are going to tell them? It's a waste of fucking time. Because YouTube is fucking everybody over. So there's going to come a time when YouTube doesn't have anybody left who's worth anything, or not enough people worth something on their platform. Meanwhile, they're promoting mainstream news outlets like CNN. CNN's YouTube channel is just growing and growing and growing. As if I can't get CNN elsewhere. Why the fuck would I come to YouTube for CNN? Like, YouTube is not where I come to for mainstream media sources. I come here for independent content creators. Independent content creators. Not for CNN. So anyway, I feel Professor Stick. I'm in his same position, but I'm still doing what I gotta do. Still here. And I'm going to continue to do what I have to do. I just wish that I had another platform that I could use to communicate my message in addition to YouTube. Who knows, maybe TikTok or something.
This one coming from Beep Emily. How do you feel about how in Russia they are limiting/prohibiting propaganda and the promotion of JW? Do you feel it's good because it disallows the cult to spread further, or should they be allowed to share their message?
It's not just about them being allowed to share their message. As far as I'm aware, they stopped sharing their message a while ago. They're not even trying to do that. They're just trying to consume the message themselves. They have the watchtowers and awakes that they get just to keep for themselves and read. That's it. And they're being arrested for possessing these things. It's honestly not good. It's a human rights violation. You have the right to practice your religion or believe your religion. You, at the very least, have the right to believe your religion. Very minimum. Jehovah's Witnesses have been subjected to torture in the past year or so. They have been arrested and imprisoned. I understand that people have been hurt by this cult. I have too, obviously. But it's not a good, honest, solid reason to imprison people. And it doesn't help. It just fuels this persecution complex that they have. They're just convinced that they're going to be imprisoned in everything in the times of the end. And look, they are. They are being imprisoned now. What do you think that says? What message do you think is being sent to these people now? That the time is even closer than ever. It's locking them in deeper. It's helping them.
This one from Steven Wilson. I really enjoyed the Jedi cult video. Do you plan on doing something like that on a more regular basis? Maybe like once a month, a video on a game, movie related religion.
It's a good question. Maybe I should, but honestly, I'm not that into like media stuff. Not that into gaming, not that into movies, things like that. I mean, I've been watching Star Wars since I was a little kid. I've been watching Star Wars since I was like 8 years old at the latest. I mean, I've been watching Star Wars since before Episode 1 came out. I remember going to the movie theater and watching Episode 1 for the first time. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then I walked out of it and my dad and brothers just talked mad shit about it for like the entire car ride home. And I was like, I thought it was good. It was kind of funny. Then I got this just insurmountable hate for the movie because my dad and my brothers hated the movie too. And anyway, I don't know. It was stupid, but I don't watch that much stuff. That's my issue. I've just been watching Star Wars for so long that I knew I could literally quote the movies. So I just knew a lot about it, and that's why I was capable of doing a video like that. I feel like it's something you need to be really aware of and understand really well to talk about it. Any cult, really. Yeah, I have to understand Jehovah's Witnesses inside and out to talk about how it operates and what they do to their members and things like that. That's why a lot of the time I try to get people on to talk about their cults, or I'll talk to them about their cults. I mean, I did that with the Seventh-day Adventists, did that with the Catholicism video, things like that, so.
This one also from Steven Wilson. Out of curiosity, how cohesive is the atheist community on YouTube?
I would say we all know each other, but we don't all work together. A lot of us actually have very, very different beliefs. But one thing that we can all agree on, basically all the big players in the atheist community, we can all agree that extremism is bad and that we have recognized extremism in the atheist community and we have separated ourselves from it largely. For example, there are some merits behind the quote-unquote SJW position. Lots of merits. Trans rights are important. Gay rights are important. Women's rights are important. Seriously. These are serious issues that need to be addressed, need to be talked about. Bottom line. And there are some extremists out there who have come to the conclusion that gay rights have gone too far. I mean, atheist YouTubers talking about how they weren't going to vote for the gay rights bill because SJWs have gone too far or some nonsense. You're shutting down human rights to spite somebody. Do you realize how ridiculous that is? Like, that's so ridiculous. It's a joke. So that's the old atheist community. from 2014, 2015, 2016, right? And they all have 500,000 to 1 million subscribers now, and they're off talking about other shit now. They're not even really YouTube atheists anymore. In 2016, 2017, through to now, a new atheist community formed on YouTube. And we recognized that the anti-SJWs from before are extremists. We realized that gay rights are valid and extremely important and should be fought for. We recognize that feminism is important and should be fought for. But we also recognize that there are extremists on the other side. And it's important to realize that there is a middle ground, and being a moderate is preferable to being an extremist. So most of us are on the same page with that. For example, Mr. Atheist and I are probably a little bit closer to the SJW side than some others, but we're super pro-gay rights, super pro-women's rights, pro-trans rights, the whole 9 yards. You be who you are, and I will support you in that endeavor. That's how it is. But there are some others who are still moderate, still not anti-SJWs, but a little bit further in that direction than I am, for example. So you could say it's very, very cohesive in the sense that none of us are extremists. We recognize that extremism is a bad thing. But we're all close enough to each other in feelings and ideals and beliefs that for the most part we'll work with each other. I'll work with just about anybody as long as you are not fear-mongering about feminism or some stupid shit like that. So, yeah, we're fairly cohesive. I mean, we're all friends. We're colleagues. We talk. None of us are extreme about anything. None of us are SJWs or anti-SJWs. Some of us self-identify as SJWs, actually, but we're not trying to burn people to the ground. We're super chill, and we all understand that, we are all on the same page about certain rights. So, let me read some of these super chats, actually. I got one in the very beginning. Evan Inge, I think. Evan Inge. Thank you so much for everything you do. I have a question. What can all of us do in our day-to-day lives to fight cults? Definitely read about cults, I would say, to start with. Learn how to interact with cult members. Actually, learn how to interact with anybody who has a belief system that's different than yours. Learn about street epistemology, I would say. Go to Anthony Magnabosco's YouTube channel, Cordial Curiosity's YouTube channel. It's extremely fascinating, and you should definitely check them out because they are teaching people, specifically Anthony Magnabosco's teaching people about how to interact with cult members or religious people more generally. We have little faith. It's too early to have your Christmas decorations up, Telly. At least wait until after Halloween. No, I have my Christmas tree right there, and I absolutely love Christmas. I'm so glad to have that tree up. You should have seen my face when I was putting it up. I was just losing it. I just love Christmas so much. I like Halloween too, though, honestly. Halloween's pretty great too. All of it's great. I just love holidays now. Like, I couldn't celebrate them my entire life growing up, and now I can, and I just go all out. We have little faith again. It was Flavor Aid. Yeah, it was. It was Flavor Aid. It wasn't like Kool-Aid. That's a common misconception. Jonestown drank Flavor Aid, not Kool-Aid. So just wanted to set the record straight. Logan Newman, have you or are you going to play The Outer Worlds? Never heard of it before, actually. I can't speak to it, unfortunately.
This one from the Glenoir, asked Telltale, how familiar is he with Shelly Miscavige?
From my understanding, Shelly Miscavige is David Miscavige's wife, and David Miscavige runs the Church of Scientology now. Like, after L. Ron Hubbard died, David Miscavige took it over. There was a power struggle, and he won, pretty much. I think that Leah Remini was asking where she went, what happened to her, because she just disappeared off the face of the earth. This woman just disappeared. Nobody heard from her. Her friends didn't hear from her. Like, she stopped going places. They thought that he killed her. Apparently, from my understanding, she has made a couple of low-key public appearances recently to show that she's alive, and then gone back into hiding pretty much. But yeah, I don't know. It's really, really concerning, and I feel for her. I don't know what's happened to her. I don't know why she's in hiding and everything like this, but it's scary. One more super chat from Evan Inge. I guess I got the name right. He says, you got my name right. Thank you. I'm just glad that I got the name right. That's really good. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I'm trying to make a shirt design for every cult I've covered. I haven't gotten every one, but I'm working on it. So check it out and see if your cult is up there. Second, you can support me by checking out my game shop. I sell controller, cartridge, and game box stands for every system from the original Nintendo and Sega Game Gear to the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. So give that a look too. And finally, if you want to support me in some way other than monetarily, you can check out my other YouTube channels. I have a retro game channel where I answer questions like, why does Shy Guy have a mask? And why are CRT TVs the best way to play retro games? I also have the podcast where I talk about stuff I don't feel I can say on a monetized channel. And finally, I have my main channel where I talk about cults. I wish I didn't have to worry about dancing around subjects carefully in the first place, but I chose to do this as a full-time job, so unfortunately I rely on YouTube's AdSense and on the support of patrons to continue doing the work I do. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.